minutes, but let's start with introductions because we have a couple of new faces in the room. So I'll start off, Nishant Sahu, Chair of the Economic Development Commission. I live over on Mitchell Street. We moved here in 2019, but this is coming back. When my parents moved here in the 90s, we were in the city and I went to Sacred Heart all the way through 8th grade. And so I'm happy to be back. So happy to be here. I work at Merrill Lynch in Mystic Village, my full-time job.
Jason Rusk, longtime city resident, owned a home on Baker Avenue since 2005. Before that, we lived in military housing in the town of Groton side. I've been around Groton since about 1994, except for a short hitch in San Diego, and then I came right back. I was a Navy retiree for 21 years, most of this year. Since then, I've worked at Milton Station, and now it's every boat for 5 years. And I'm also involved with Planning and Zoning Commission and a couple of boards of directors here in the city on various projects. And been on economic development for 3 years.
Do you know Joe?
And I happen to know somebody in planning and zoning just made the connection between the two of us.
Oh, really?
At our 4th or 5th meeting together, she's like,
I'm Cameron James. I have lived my entire life in Groton. I'm over on Smith Street. My family has lived basically their entire lives, like 3 generations or something, have lived in Groton City. So I've been here a long while. Currently, I'm going to school for my master's degree in public affairs and public administrations at Merrimack College in Massachusetts. But I'm finishing that up in the next 2 months. So.
Great.
Cameron also did a volunteer with our office maybe
Last summer.
last summer. Ooh, time is going by, but he did some initial research for Birch Plain Creek Trail and the property transfer information there. So it was extremely helpful. So I was really happy to see his application come for our commission.
Very welcome. So thanks for joining. That's great. That's great. Okay.
I'm Aaron Brooks. I'm the liaison for Groton Utilities. So I'm the general manager of business development. My team and I oversee a wide variety of activities, including public relations, communications, community outreach, conservation and sustainability. We oversee our metering and analytics, along with rate design, special contracts, and so forth. I'm also a liaison on the town economic development commission. And I'm excited to be here.
Right. Thanks for being here. That's great. Thank you all. So we'll hold off on the approval of minutes until Margaret can get here. No public comments, I don't believe. So we're on to new business, which is the bylaws. So
Section 7 amendment, bylaws may be amended from time to time as deemed necessary or desirable by the bylaw commission. There's no process.
there's no process.
No.
Additionally, there are 2 section 7s in the bylaws. Funding and amendments are both effective.
Right.
This is incredible. When was this effective? 2018. Wow, and it's not even that long. It's 4 pages.
I remember twitching the first time I read through it.
Yeah. Well, I think we know to start off with, so we can discuss this and then I guess bring Margaret up to speed when she comes in, and hope I'm sure she'll agree. I think
If you wanted to, we could hold off on that. Aaron was going to give a update for GU, and I can give a staff report.
Sure.
To get that stuff out the way.
Let's do that.
So
Well, I guess old business is business outreach.
I'll let Aaron go first with the Groton.
GU update.
Yep.
Sure. So I did include a report in the packet, so hopefully you guys all have that. And I'll just touch base maybe on a couple of things. very, very briefly. One is, in our updates, we started including customer accounts. We started that, several years ago now. One of the things that has really stood out, I think, basically since the pandemic, is that the commercial sector really just hasn't recovered. So just wanted to kind of point that out there. From a rate competitiveness standpoint, I think Groton Utilities and Bosler Light and Power, our subsidiary, we do a pretty good job being competitive. It's actually, we just updated it today. So it's actually even better than what I think is submitted in your packet. We're actually 44% below Eversource, which is about $110 per month less.
Oh, wow.
So it's a significant savings to our customers. Because this is the first one that you guys have seen, I'll just highlight kind of the transmission upgrade. So this is a significant infrastructure project for Groton Utilities. We have 3 primary transmission lines that come in. 2 were at 115,000 volts coming in. 1 was at 69,000 volts coming in. We've upgraded the 69 kV line up to 115,000 volts. So now we have three lines coming in, which improves our reliability, improves our redundancy. And we did a lot of that work in-house, which I don't know of a lot of municipal utilities that have that kind of talent. So just a shout out to our substation teams and electricians. Other than that, I'll touch base. I think, Sarah, you asked me to touch base on our HVAC rebate programs. So we have heat pump programs specifically. So heat pump mini splits, they can also be deducted, both for residents and for commercial businesses. They do have minimum efficiency ratings that they have to meet. So it is a conservation project, so they do have to be efficient units. But as long as they are able to meet those minimum thresholds, then we do incentivize them. On the residential side, we rebate basically up to $5,000 towards the price of the outdoor compressor. So it's for the equipment only. So that covers basically up to maybe a 3.5 ton outdoor compressor, give or take. On the commercial side, it's structured a little bit different. So very similar efficiency ratings, but we incentivize $3,000 per ton, which is the size of the unit, up to, so 3,000 a ton or 80% of the project, whichever is less. On the commercial side. So that's pretty good. But both programs are pretty robust, and I think we've had a lot of success, especially on the residential side.
And I want to share it because we have a couple, we have a new business in the city of Groton that wanted to take advantage of it. And I'm connecting them with Aaron. And so I thought since we're doing our business outreach, it would be good for us to know a little bit about the program. There's a website for it, or maybe hand out that.
GrotonUtilities.com. You can see all of our wonderful programs right on the center banner. There's one for energy conservation. Click that, click whether you're a resident or a business or a commercial, and then it lists all of our programs there, and you can even apply right online.
Can I ask questions?
Yeah, sure.
The rebate program for mini splits. I had heard about it maybe at least a year ago. And at the time I heard, well, you got to get involved because there are only so many rebates available. Is that program, does that recycle each year, or you just haven't had the visibility, haven't had that many people take advantage of it?
So we've actually had wild success with it, I think. We've had so much success that we definitely want to keep it going. And we are fairly well funded.
Okay.
So basically, as long as our funding doesn't diminish, there's no end date at this time. You know, it's always subject to funding, but there's no end date at this time.
Okay. It wasn't a one-time grant. You had 100 tickets, first 100 customers take advantage of it.
Nope, this is a pool of money that actually all ratepayers actually pay into. So it's always good to take advantage of it because everybody pays into the pool. So it's always good to be able to leverage it when you can.
And that's true for commercial applicants as well.
Yep.
Any other questions for Aaron? Great, thank you. Thanks for being here. And thanks for the personal answer to my email.
Okay, so as far as staff report for here, so just to, for the Blue Dot platform that we use for our business outreach, you'll notice that it has been updated, so it only reflects the city of Groton businesses. Right now, we have 327 businesses, that have data in the platform. We have about 20 logged activities and 13 of which are business connections. I wanted to remind everybody to, when you're doing your outreach, to log it within the platform so that we can all see that and track it. We won't get notifications when each person does it, but every single time you go into that business's profile, you'll be able to see everybody's, all the activity that is logged.
Can we get access yet?
Cameron has
Okay.
access and Aaron also
Oh, good.
has
Okay,
access
perfect.
as well. And then the Blue Dot platform basically makes it easy for when we're doing the outreach, we can all log what we're doing and see what that conversation is, so that whoever follows back up with that business kind of has a general understanding of where things were left off. I also try to send you guys tasks. So did
worked
you
for me,
it
yeah.
worked?
Yeah, it worked. I
Did-
contacted them. Yeah.
I haven't sent you one yet, but I will. Jason, did it work for
Well,
you?
partial success. I got the task. I haven't completed it yet.
Okay, all right. But you received the test. That's good.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to reach out to all 327 businesses within a year, with all of us who are currently on the commission, it would be each of us at least tackling 4 businesses a month. So I think that's an ambitious goal, granted, but I mean,
Yeah.
it could be a nice little thing to try to shoot for, and then we can just at least go through the list, update the contact information, make sure they at least had, some interaction or engagement with somebody from our commission, and then.
So if you assign us a task, like, so for example, I only talked to the business owner today, so I haven't gone in to like complete the task and write on the wall, but will you get a notification that I completed the task?
I haven't gotten one yet.
Because I wonder if that's how we can do it. So I mean, the goal is at least one a month. But I think like in my case, if I complete it, then that gives you the notification, oh, I can assign you another one. And then that way I always have one assigned, and you can try to do more. But I think that would be important to know.
Okay.
I mean, worst case scenario, we just send you a quick note saying, one-way communication, hey, I completed this, assign me somebody else. But,
Okay.
I think that would be helpful.
All right. I'll use you as a guinea.
Yeah.
I'll use you guys as a guinea pig this first time, and then any of your past ones, you can update as well, because I know that when we talked last month, there was a number of businesses that you guys had already reached out to, but we hadn't logged them into the system yet. So we'll test the task thing, and I'll also follow up a list to see if I can at least get a notification on that. And
Yeah, I mean, because you own it, so I mean, it should, like it was your task, it makes sense to me that you get notification when it's completed.
the other thing I can do, because I'm still working from our list that we had put together back in November. If I don't get a notification, I could at least maybe go back through and just check.
Well, I
these
think
bids.
there's a screen, like when you log in, if you have it up, that shows the most recent activity, right? Go to your dashboard. Can you just see? Probably all over here. No. I'm trying to see if there's another way. Last update, okay, or last activity.
I can do that and check it from there.
Yeah, maybe so, because I know these two are me. But, like that's the one that I haven't logged yet is Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
And
I think these are logging the tasks that I'd sent. Does it show me?
Yeah. Yeah, the wall should have it. Oh, no, it didn't.
Yeah,
There's the task.
it's under the task.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I can at least check the latest activity to see
Yeah. If
of
there's-
worst case scenario.
Yeah.
All right. And we'll follow up and have another meeting so that we can go over the Blue Dot platform for the both of you guys to see if you have any questions and make sure you're accustomed to it. All right, so that is that. Boom, boom, boom. So I'll hold off on the grant applications just until Margaret gets here. So as far as upcoming presentations and workshops, P and Z Planning and Zoning Commission has a meeting on April 18th. We are continuing to discuss zoning regulation changes, and we are currently looking at the general commercial area. So those conversations are interesting. They're coming along. We're learning a lot as we go through this process. So by all means, feel free to join that conversation. We shared with the Planning and Zoning Commission, so I'll share with you guys, there are a number of developers who are interested, people who currently own property in the general commercial, as well as those interested in purchasing property who would like to do some type of mixed use development, but currently our general commercial only allows 2 units outside of the commercial space. So that's one of the big discussions that is kind of up there in understanding what does that actually look like and mean and how will that impact the city. But just want to keep you guys abreast of those two related conversations that are.
Planning and zoning
going
is
on.
looking at kind of an overhaul of zoning regulations and we're still working through definitions and we're still kind of plotting through the existing, but we're looking ahead to how we can change some definitions, how we could allow some broader language to give more options, to allow things like, how many units is too many units in the general commercial?
Mhm.
Above a storefront, how many apartments could there be? That sort of thing. Can that be right around the corner from residential property on the adjoining street? Those sort of questions.
Mhm.
So it's all these things that Sierra has brought us up on, placemaking and those sort of terms. And then the commission's concern obviously is how do you codify that in zoning regs so that it can kind of be on autopilot. The application comes in, does it need the reg or not? Does it fit? Does the reg set up to fit the plan of conservation and development and design for the city? Yes. Then does the application fit within the regulations? Yes or no? Then it's academic and it's not.
Mhm.
It's not an emotional episode. It's just taking care of it.
The other thing that I think will be instrumental for us that the commission will be looking at is uses. So our regulations are very use specific right now. And we saw that with Alpha's Auto in Napa store to I know we joke and call it nail polish on a car, but
Yeah.
that same auto relate kind of similar businesses, but they had to go through a complete use change, hire an attorney, do all that. We
Right.
were able to provide them with the business soft cost grant, so they were able to recoup some of their costs back, but just trying to make the city of Groton more friendly for when businesses do come in. They actually don't have to go through this immense process just to be able to be allowed to utilize the space. So
Yeah.
that's something that we'll also look at some more during the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. On April 24th, Leslie and I will be giving our budget presentation. So just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that. And then
Did you request any just flat funding like on the grant program or things like that?
the same.
Okay.
Mhm. So same amount for this year and then
10,000.
yep, 10,000 and 10,000, and we have until end of June of this year to spend the other was it 7,000, a little over 7,000, I think we have.
I think 7,500.
7,500 left, yeah.
2,500.
Yep, 7,500 left. Okay, so we'll do that and
Is it-
then
I'm sorry, just curious, is
Sorry?
that a council of the whole? Is that what that is?
committee of the whole, yeah. Um, on May 8th, we're going to return for an ARPA presentation. So I was able to negotiate an allocation of 100K to be for small business grants. Following the similar model that is in London, they are working with Women's Business Development Council, where a business can do grants anywhere from 2,500 to $10,000 on something that helps improve their business in a growth, some type of growth or expansion, additional revenue service or something. So same exact program, they would administer the funds, they will work with the businesses. It is a very hands-on program. It's not like they're just administering the funds. There are classes and sessions that the businesses will go through with them and also have a one-on-one advisory person throughout the process. So they are tentatively scheduled, WBDC, to present to council how they would use that 100K to benefit the businesses here and what that relationship would look like. And so that would be on May 8th. That would also be a committee of the whole meeting. Yes.
Since you're still on your pieces and we have Margaret, so we have two new individuals in the room. We have Cameron, who's a new member of the commission, and then we have Aaron, who's the liaison from Groton Utilities. And then Jason, myself, and Sierra are also here, just so you know who's in the room.
Okay, hopefully I'll be there within about 10-15 minutes.
Okay, all right, perfect. Did you have anything else you wanted to chat about before we got to the application?
Just, I guess, so briefly, the community resiliency plan. There were 7 objectives identified in the plan. Each objective has its own like quote unquote toolbox to address a specific resiliency challenge. And within that toolbox is a list of tasks that they had identified for the city to consider to move forward. We are still working with leadership and internal staff to assess that list and to really gauge what the city's capacity is to achieve some of these goals. We are hoping to have this wrapped up within the next couple of months, and then that will feed into 2 community engagements where SLR will come back and they'll review our vulnerability assessment to climate change, sea level rise, intensified storm events. And then we will actually start to work through some of the city of Groton specific challenges that were identified and kind of brainstorm ways with staff and people from like Circa, Nature Conservancy, researchers, kind of all coming together to really strategize specific projects within the city of Groton and how we would like to partner as we move forward. So it's coming together. It's an interesting process, but I'm looking forward to us wrapping up this review and then getting forward to the community engagement, because I feel with the number of the different challenges that the city is facing and has to consider, we've actually had a lot of outreach from these external partners and organizations that want to help and have been able to provide meaningful information to how we design, develop, how we're thinking about different things and even restoration projects. So really good conversations happening. Any questions about the resiliency? All right.
Feel free to jump in. I mean, some of this is, we've dealt with these terms and we've been thinking about these things for a couple, 3 years now. So, feel free to ask questions. Here has a wealth of knowledge on this, and she can provide all the details you desire.
Yep. So next thing is the Bridge Street Gateway improvement. So we are moving this project forward. We are at the process of reviewing some concept plans from the street plans consultant. So, okay, let me double track back.
Yeah.
So the Bridge Street Gateway, we had gotten a grant from Department of Health, an extra transportation grant for them to talk about complete streets and et cetera. They took the Bridge Street and I-95 Gateway and used that as a demonstration. There is like an image on the wall that kind of looks at how do you incorporate more pedestrian safety, bike lanes, how to do a little bit of road dieting in that area, just to, one, make it more of a gateway interest, but then to also just bring more awareness to the different road users as well as the commercial space and how that is starting to change in that area.
One concept was remove the right-hand arched lane that takes you onto Bridge Street to the stop sign, you come off the off ramp. And make that just maybe add a lane or something, but make the four-way stop light the entrance to the town. So to take a right on Bridge Street, you have to go up to the light and take a right. And then what that might do is allow more space on that side for pedestrian and bike lane. Keep cars out of the people's space, use the light to regulate safety with the crosswalk to the other side of Bridge Street, that sort of thing.
So we're taking that design and concept and using what we call tactical urbanism approach to test it, which really is just temporary paint, maybe some planters, cones, different things that are set up just to physically change the design so that we can test it for a couple weeks on some elements, keep certain things in place for a couple of months over the spring period, and just really look to see how things are flowing, what adjustments we need to make. And that's going to help inform some of the city's decisions of equipment, infrastructure, road design that needs to go there, as well as the property owners in that area of kind of like how they're using their space that meets at the public right of way at the road. So staff is reviewing the concept plans. It has to go before, this is a new process for the city completely. So first time for everything. So we have to go through our traffic authority first. Some of this is going to impact a state road. So we are also reaching out to DOT and the Southeastern Council of Governments to kind of help us navigate through this process, get our implementation up, and kind of use this as a pilot for how we can try tactical urbanism in other areas of the city and really assess it and make changes and alterations as needed. One thing that's not on here, but the strategic communications, the professional brand, as well as a city tagline, which is Groton City History in the Making, have been shared internally. Things are now on the website. You will start to see social media posts go out, an article in the day, and a few other things leading up to City Day, which will kind of be our big rollout celebration, but we're in a soft launch phase as we kind of get all of our elements together on our external sources to everyone. So
Do we have an updated logo without the notch?
without
Yeah.
without the notch. So actually, that's one thing I did not include in y'all.
Did notice that they called us Groton City. I think it was two separate articles today.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's part of your branding
Strategic.
effort, but
They actually
but I did
were,
notice.
it was part of the decision for why we thought to switch it and go with that, because people are starting to refer to the city as Groton City, like the highway changed.
Just a highway
The
call.
day calls it mentions it a couple of times. And so we figured we might as well. There's no harm in embracing it. And we're using both City of Groton and Groton City. So
Right.
what I'm trying to show you.
Alex.
You want to pass it around,
Yeah.
but they did get rid of the notch and kind of freshened up a few things.
Yeah, I like that. That looks better.
So we are.
Oh,
first-
okay.
The first installation that you guys are gonna notice is on Bridge Street. There were banners. There were banners that were put in place by the Groton Business Association when they were in place.
Hmm.
I think they did one set of banners and then they were there since. So they were very faded and everything, so those had to come down and order new banners that had that logo and.
Check that out.
Oh, very
Also
nice.
support community, so it's.
Okay.
History in the making.
So the images of people, thank you.
Cool.
We have images of people like a graduate student, a Groton Utilities worker, a submarine, different things that kind of speak to some of the activities and stuff that are happening here. Hey, Margaret.
Hi.
And then the last update I will give is for TIF. So we have a number of individuals who are interested in trying to use that incentive. So the incentive was put in place in 2018. The city of Groton has not had a project, and from my understanding, the town of Groton has not received a project either. Our TIF is a joint between the city and town. So right now, staff is reviewing to truly understand what that process is to walk someone through utilizing that incentive.
Because we're not proficient.
And there's a lot of other. The policy, the way the policy is written, it is very vague and the TIF can be used in many different ways. So I think there needs to be some clarification of what the city of Groton is really comfortable with doing. So there's like a credit, whether it's kind of like a loan, people can, I guess, apparently issue debt. There's all these different mechanisms for how the funding can be used, but staff wants to make sure it's clarified of how that is truly can be used in a function in the city of Groton. So I will provide updates on that incentive as we go through that process. And I'm sorry, I lied to you. One more thing, just reports on projects in the city. The commission has accepted 120 West Street. That development, which is the former Coroner Ledyard School, to be converted into residential units. And then they've also received an application for 158 Bridge Street, where that is the former Paul's TV location. There is an applicant that would like to do an auto repair place in that space. So that is being reviewed at the commission. And that is it for my staff.
Okay. While you're on your stuff though, do you want to talk about the applications that we
Oh.
received?
Yes, so we received 2 applications. One from Angelique Aesthetics. She is at 256 Thames Street. That is the former Pig and Brow Bar that was down on Thames Street. She is looking to do signage, like the sign on the front, some window decals, and landscaping and some seating space right out in front. She would like to take advantage of putting her application in now and then having a 6-month window to complete that work. So
What do you,
that's this.
It's still a reimbursement, right? I mean,
It's still a reimbursement, so she knows that she would have to
so
complete the project and everything to even be eligible, but wanted to get her application in.
I mean, do we shouldn't necessarily, do we vote on it now? I wouldn't say so. I mean,
We wouldn't
haven't
vote on
said-
it, but I
it's
just wanted to
more
say that
we have it.
it's an
Yeah,
official
okay.
acceptance. at this meeting, because this will start,
Got it.
today will
Process.
start their,
Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
6-month date.
For my own benefit, what's the usual process for that? Do we get the application before they begin or after they start?
So the minor facade improvement grant is new. Last month was the first month we got a request. Our first application that went through, they processed our application after they had completed all their work. Last month, someone asked if they can actually process their application, but still be completing their project as they go, and then once they complete, then they would qualify, and this body said that that would be something that's acceptable because we had a 6-month window within our grant policies.
Basically to tell them you're on the right track, you know,
Mhm.
and as long as this continues and you meet these requirements, we have no reason, as we can see right now, to deny it.
But I noticed that the application has a cost, part of it, you write how much you spent on it for the reimbursement. So that would make logical sense that you would do that after, you write that after you completed this project.
Mm,
So do we accept amendments to that, like, oh, I finished it, but I spent way less, or I spent way more than initially is in the application, can I make that change in the application?
It is in the rules, which we should send to Cameron when
Mhm.
you have some time. It's very clear that it's reimbursement only. So I think when we get proof of payment, if it is in fact less, that would be the determining factor. I think the application, to your point, does have an amount, but also this being the first time that we're getting one ahead of time, that would be my inclination is, you know, looks okay, you know, it's acceptable in this format, but it is a reimbursement. We're not going to send money more than what you've able to prove that you paid.
So do we accept Angelique Aesthetics application for saying that signage to the exterior windows and landscaping are eligible projects for her to move forward with the minor facade improvement grant?
I guess procedurally, we should figure out how we want to do this. So I mean, do we have, you know, 2 levels of acceptance of, you know, we accept the project and then we accept for reimbursement?
I was gonna say, do we accept the project pending the completion and the
Yeah.
request for
Well,
reimbursement?
there's the other layer that they have to get through Leslie in the proposed, you know, if it's changed to frontage or whatever else, that Leslie has to weigh in on whether, you know, if whether the design, you know, is acceptable and.
As well
and
as
maybe
building
even
and zoning, because of the
you know,
permits needed.
Right. So I don't know if there's much weight to our accepting a project that hasn't begun yet, hasn't been approved yet. You know, hey, that's great. We've got an application. We acknowledge the application. The best I think we could do at this stage is say the intent of the application meets the boundaries of what we consider eligibility for the grant. Now do it, you know, and then come see us within 6 months of completion for the, you know, because if we say we accept it now, are we really officially starting a clock of 6 months? You know, because if it takes this person 9 months to get this done.
Then they know at the 6 months point, they would have
To reapply?
to reapply. They basically have to start over again.
Okay.
So this kind of solidifies this,
But by the same token, the same person could come to us 5 months after completing such a project and say, I know about your grant. Does my change to the front of the business meet your intent? Sure it does. Here are the receipts. You know, you say I'm eligible, here are the receipts. Leslie says it was okay. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just wondering if you know, if the pre-approval, you know, if we should tie a time period to that, if it's unnecessary.
do you want to leave it at staff level, or? I think the other thing is too, with the Margaret's application was just the idea of she wanted to ensure or feel a little bit more comfortable that she was on the right track and that money would be coming back. Like, she didn't want to invest in it and then be like,
Yep.
she doesn't financially have it to do the
Right.
project at the moment.
And I understand that too. I think the other issue that we get into is right now where, you know, we have 2 applications, we have 3 reimbursements that we can do before the end of the fiscal year, but we may not always be in that situation. And if we accept this and then someone comes with a completed package and is looking for reimbursement, well, we technically have accepted these other projects. Can we also, reimburse this and then someone else can, I just don't want to get into the habit of accepting something that we truly don't know the time frame.
Yeah, because Angelique's could end up being next fiscal year,
Exactly.
and we would just cover it on the next fiscal years.
I think it's, the nudge of I think exactly what Jason said, the project seems to meet our criteria based on what the information that you've
Yeah.
currently provided. There's a
Mhm.
lot more steps needed to be taken before we can formally accept it
Mhm.
and pass it to, the council.
I'm happy for us to give that kind of pre-approval.
Exactly, yeah.
I have interest. I heard about this thing. Does this meet what you have intent? Absolutely does.
Right.
Once you describe, a new coat of paint and, whatever, perfect. Sounds exactly what we're interested in. Get it done and come see us.
Yeah. Maybe it's just, from our point of view, the commission approves of the scope of the project, that's what we say, that, that the project as presented, seems to meet the criteria of what we would consider a minor facade improvement,
Mhm.
And I wonder if that's what they're looking for, landscaping plus signage decals. Yes, the commission agrees that that does meet the criteria. Now, make sure you get all your approvals and everything along the way. Buford sign, which I know we haven't started talking about yet, again, meets the criteria of what we're looking for in an application. Just please go, make sure you follow all the correct rules.
So them getting kind of like, so what does that mean they get from us? Just like an okay?
They
But
get,
no.
yeah, I think if I was the business owner, what I would worry about is going through this entire process and then the commission's like, well, that's not what we imagined a minor
Mhm.
facade would be like,
Right.
Riverfront, right? With their
Side
their
versus
the
side.
side awning, and then so that's an issue. And it's a good thing that they brought it up in advance because we have to look at the rules. So these projects seem to work, but it's just the technicals behind it. So yeah, that's what they're getting from us. Yeah, I mean, we agree that this is a minor facade improvement if the project goes through.
Okay,
Um,
but it doesn't earmark any money for them.
no, I think that's a challenging place for us to go.
Well, we don't want to tie ourselves down to,
This
we already
fiscal year.
committed
Yeah.
this money, so we can't take this hot application ready to go,
And we want to spend the money. I mean, we
We
want
wanna
that
give this
money. to
money
go out.
away.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not trying to be stingy with it at all, but and I don't know if there's any advantage to us locking this application in under this fiscal year. Here's where I would want to walk both sides of the fence. If we don't get a hot application, we don't give this money away, before the fiscal year expires.